Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the second IFRS Executive Workshop. I hope that you had a good travel, and I'm happy to see you here for the next 3 days. I've asked Andras Horvai to open this workshop, not only because he's the manager of the Vienna office, the extended Vienna office since last year, but Andras is not only one of the kindest person I know, but he is also a former central banker. He was at the Central Bank of Hungary, where he started his career. He has a lot of experience in Europe, but not only in Europe, also in South Asia. He has been executive director at the EBRD, but also he has been the country manager for the WorldBank in Croatia, and had many other positions in the bank. So, Andras, for this introduction, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It was the most kind introduction, and I'm very grateful that you didn't mention when I started my career. Also, I should mention that I do work, in addition to being the operation manager for the Vienna office, I also work on the 6 countries of Southeast Europe. So I do visit some of the countries that you come from, and I'm, as Pascal mentioned, I'm Hungarian, so I have a lot of connections to you. I have to apologize in advance for leaving right after my opening remarks, but I have to catch a plane to Istanbul shortly after I finish this. So I have to rush off, but I wanted to meet with you and make these remarks. I understand that there would be about 60 participants from 19 countries of the Europe and Central Asia region, so it's a fantastic attendance. The weather is gorgeous. I wish we could sit outside and enjoy the beautiful Vienna weather, but that's not the case. You may or may not know that the WorldBank has a dual objective. It's the mission we have is to eliminate extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity globally. And in order to do that, what is important for the economies of the operation of the WorldBank is to foster competitiveness and build competencies that would help the private sector to play its role as the engine of growth. And business standards in this regard play an important role. They provide a common language for countries to work together. Our world is becoming increasingly interconnected. The financial crisis emphasized the need for greater harmony, comparability, and consistency, and businesses need to understand each other. Investors need to be able to compare the performance and potential of companies and the risks they face. And regulators need to be able to communicate on the basis of a common information infrastructure. Now, the need for accountability and observance of high standards of financial reporting does not just apply to large corporations, banks, or insurance companies, but they also apply to governments, public institutions, and also for the small and medium-sized enterprises. And as you may know, the World Bank supports initiatives to strengthen financial reporting, not only in the public, but also in the business sector, both globally, through its engagement with standard setters like yourselves, and locally on the ground by providing policy advice to governments, technical support to standard setters, professional bodies, and training to practitioners. This week's workshop is an example of the type of activities we do as part of providing solutions to complex problems globally. And just to illustrate 3 aspects of our engagement with our partner countries, let me highlight the following. First, we are trying to promote understanding and use of international standards. Second, we are partnering with key institutions. In this case, is the International Accounting Standards Board and the International Financial Reporting Standards Foundation, and developing joint activities tailored to the needs of our partner countries. And finally, we are trying to provide opportunities for collaboration and exchange among peers. And I always find this as the most useful aspect of gatherings, that you build up your relationship with others as you are facing the same kind of issues in the countries of Central Europe, Eastern and Southeast Europe. Now let me say a few words about the Center for Financial Reporting Reform, otherwise called CFRR, and I'm sure that you are quite familiar with this. The CFRR is a unit of the World Bank. It's located in Vienna, and it's funded by several donors. We'll come to that at the end. And it covers the entire region of Europe and Central Asia, 30 countries altogether, including the countries that you come from. And its goal is to help these countries in establishing and developing financial reporting systems that are conducive to private sector development and also the development of the financial sectors. And this includes a number of things. First, it includes statutory frameworks that are up to date, talking about laws, regulations, bylaws, and for the EU member countries and for the enlargement countries, this means largely the acquis communautaire, and this is also relevant, of course, for the EU neighborhood countries. It also means institutions of financial reporting and audit that play their role effectively, and this is from standard setters to professional bodies to regulatory and enforcement agencies, including the institutions that you represent here today. And then it's also related to the effective information infrastructure that I mentioned earlier that is relying on a well-functioning business and professional register. And as part of the regulatory framework, we are also talking about appropriate standards, including the IFRS. Now, none of this is easy to accomplish, and it requires time, it requires persistence, very often political will, and of course, support, technical advice, and strengthening of institutions. Now, to help our financial sector counterparts, the Center for Financial Reporting Reform also carries out a number of activities specifically tailored to you. One is the regional forum, or there are actually regional fora among peers. For example, there was one not long ago about the interaction between auditors and regulators. There are also knowledge exchange meetings between peer institutions, with peer institutions in Europe. And then there are country-specific training seminars to update staff in changes in recent developments in the IFRS of EU legislation. And finally, let me thank our partners, the IASB and the IFRS Foundation, other partner organizations, and the generous donors. I mentioned that the CFRR is funded by several donors, Austria, Luxembourg, and Switzerland, and we are extremely grateful for the support and collaboration, and also would like to thank all of you for coming to Vienna and taking your time, and we do hope that this investment will pay off. Thank you very much.